Facebook Live. This is T Hatchett and GL.
I know what's happening.
And we are the Hatchett Chronicles. And we're coming to you live today. And we have a great subject today, babe. But before we talk about the subject, let's get everybody acclimated as to what's going on and what we've been doing.
Nothing.
You know what, man? I can't with you. I can't with him. Babe, can you please tell him what you've been doing?
Nothing.
You, you know what? I can't. Help me, somebody. Well, the first thing we have to do is let people come in because I see that everybody ain't come in. So that's something new I would like to start, baby, is letting people come in.
There's 3 people watching so far. So what's up, y'all? You did 4 people so far. You did. Well, same thing, man. Just working on music, working on new projects, stuff like that. Me and Trey got something crazy coming up. We were just on the phone yesterday for like an hour and a half, trying to implement some different things and all of that, man. So we got a couple new mixtapes we're gonna be working on. A couple things definitely to look out for, man. A couple new artists too. Actually, one of the artists I've been working with, Chef Boy Zardy. I did a couple of joints for him. He got 2 of the songs, and one of them is Cushion. That's on every stream site. You could go pick that up on every stream site, Tidal, Spotify, all of those sites. And it's a pretty dope single. Look out for that. Y'all can go scoop that up. He got another single he's getting ready to drop. I think in like another week or so. So look out for that too. Chef Boy Zardy. That's his name. And I got Nephew coming up. He got some stuff going on. Actually, he's gonna be coming down over the Christmas break. So when he comes down, we're gonna finish up a couple of things and be dropping some stuff at the beginning of the year. So we just in here working, man. We working, trying to give y'all some good content. Also look out for my son's stuff. He's working with his group, and they got a couple new projects coming out too. That's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna give y'all some more information about that, as I get it, because right now he don't he crazy. They don't really want nothing, leaked or anything. So with that being said, we'll wait and see.
My husband is modest too because he has been doing his thing with these new beats he got. So if anybody's looking for some beats, please check him out because his beat game is just.
Yeah, I got some beat, man. I got a new catalog that I'm building up. Rick G's, man. Shout to Rick G's, man.
Hey Sylvia.
That's my dude, DJ. That's my dude, man. Back home in Jersey and all that. Shout to Rick. I just put a folder together for him. He got some heat, man. So Rick G's on Instagram. Rick G's 1.
Also, my book is still for sale. The Power of God. It is still hot and running. If you're interested, I have done a couple of events.
Chops, what up?
Since I've been in hot Atlanta, and so it's really taken off here. So if you're interested in getting a book from me, The Power of God, an autographed copy, please IM me, IM my husband, text us, let us know. The book is $15 plus $3 shipping and handling. I accept PayPal, Cash App, and credit cards, Master, Visa. So
Big D, what's happening?
Let me know. It is really selling very well here in Atlanta. So check that book out. And look out for a new one that might be coming. So the topic today, baby. And also, I just have to put this disclaimer out. This is a mature subject, so if you have kids, under 16, I don't know, then you might want to be cautious. I don't know.
Parental guidance is suggested.
Yeah, okay. That's why I have him, because he knows the proper words. I don't know the proper words. So, the subject is, and this was, by the way, shout out to my sister, Anne, because she actually asked this question, and she challenged me with this question because, of course, we are very spiritual people. So for me, my first thought was I went right to God.
Uh-oh.
But the question was...
Y'all see, I don't need to be getting the topics. I'm surprised. I don't know what this is going to be.
Well, the topic was, if you are in love, is sex important?
Sure is. It depends. It depends. It depends.
So what she meant by that, let me elaborate. Like, let's say you're in love with somebody and you have sex with them, and the sex may not be all of that. Can you just, like, maybe
stay in love without the sex being all of that?
Well, can you stay in the relationship? Can you just overlook that? Can you, you're in love with them. You want to be with them. So, you make adjustments.
my thing is from just my opinion. First of all, if it's not a godly, I'm not going to say God, I'm going to say spiritual. If it's not a spiritual relationship where you're married, then you may have complications because you are not going to let God present the work to you. And
that's where I went with her. That's where I went. I was like, the sex would be all that if it's godly and you were you were in love and God's in it. And the reason why I went there, for people who know us, we were celibate before we got married because it was important to us, because of our faith, we believed that we didn't want to have premarital sex. Okay.
Yeah, see, she was celibate trying to get me to buy a bit.
No, he didn't go there. Okay, let me explain that.
What happened was...
I had to learn, okay? I had to learn, okay? Because I'll be honest with you, before I met him, I didn't think there was no such thing as getting married without testing the waters, in other words.
Okay, perfect example. Leading to the question you asked, right?
Yeah, that's the perfect example.
Most people want to listen. I'm saying most people want to test the water.
Well, what did you tell me? Car. Because what did I ask you when that happened?
But see, babe, you can't use us. You can't. You can't use us as you can't use us as an example, really, because we have a different relationship than the people we talk to or the people we try to help, because we have a spiritual understanding with the Lord. If something's going on with me, you pray for me. If something's going on with you, I pray for you. We pray with each other.
But I'm
saying,
yes, you're right.
Now, wait a minute now. And just a normal relationship, I don't know if that's done. Right?
Okay, now, and it can't work.
And then if it's not, it depends on the person that is in that relationship, how important to them sex is.
Okay, then let me say
what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And let me say this, okay? Like I said, before me and my husband got together, I did not believe. I'm sorry, baby, you're gonna have to keep up with this. Because I'm not reading the case to keep up.
I'm not either.
Well, we're sorry, y'all. I didn't hesitate.
I can't see anyway. Oh, nobody's good.
Here. Oh, they didn't hear the question. The question was that if you are in love, can you...
How important
is the sex? Okay. And let me just say this. Before my husband and I, like I said, I believe that you shouldn't be in a relationship or married unless you test the waters. Now, my husband taught me something different, because had she asked me that question before my husband, my answer would have been like, nope, because if you ain't satisfied, you don't need to be there. That love ain't got nothing to do with that. You must be satisfied. I believed at that time that sex was 50% of the relationship, which meant that if the sex wasn't good, there was no relationship. Okay. Um, After my husband, because when we decided to abstain from sex until marriage, I went to my husband and I said to him, "Well, suppose we get married and we don't please each other. Then what? We're stuck in a marriage." And because I loved him, I did love him, but my worry was that the sex wouldn't be good when we got married, because we didn't know we wouldn't be able to please. Not that the sex wouldn't be good, we might not be able to please each other. And he said to me, if we do it right and God is in the mix, then we will be pleased with each other.
Every time.
Every time.
All the time.
That's what he said to me. And of course, there was that, okay. But he was right. He was right.
Because I rocked her world every time.
You know what?
Every time.
Wait a minute.
No, wait.
Yeah, you know, just because we said PG, don't mean we got.
I know I got carried away from it.
So for me, when my sister came to me with that question, it was like, well, wait a minute, because God got to be in it. I was like, you know, yes, if you're in love, the sex is going to be good. And she was like, no, but maybe it's not. And I was like, if you are in love, it's got to be good, because God said. And she challenged me with that, like you just did, because it was like, well, you know, everybody is not on the same level spiritually.
You know what? Not to discourage anyone from a relationship they want to build or they want to get in, and not to say that they're not in love or not going to be in love, but what I'm saying is that if you feel like, or you believe that sex is 70% of your relationship, then
oh my
that's
God,
what it's gonna be. Sylvia, what the heck are you saying?
She said, well, let me use me. I used to test the waters, and it worked sometimes, and sometimes it didn't on my relationship. But now, as I speak, I'm out. I'm not doing nothing. Legs closed and mouth stay shut, which means no jobs coming from me. Okay. Okay.
Dorian, what you say?
I'm just gonna leave that right there. It says, Dorian said, once you get married and decide to have sex, if there's a problem, someone has to turn on the freak meter.
That's a fact.
Okay, but see, that's what I'm saying, that if God is in the mix, things will flow.
Sex, making love, whatever you want to call it, is always good when God is in the mix. Let not your marriage bed be defiled. That means whatever you do with your wife or whatever you do with your husband is okay. If you're married, you understand? That's what the Word of God says.
Yes, it does.
So, therefore, if not that, if you're not married, then, you know, it's challenges that come with that, because you know it's you know, and I don't want to seem like I'm preaching to the choir. I don't want to seem like I'm preachy, but at the same time, I'm not going to be fake, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite, and I'm going to tell you how I live my life, and I live my life through Christ. So if you're not married, there's going to be problems. Sex ain't going to be, you know, I mean, for the moment, it is what it is. You know,
well, let me speak to that.
You sleeping with everybody she slept with. He's sleeping with everybody you slept with. It's always going to be a spiritual warfare there. You understand what I'm saying? And
not only that,
it's you know.
Let me speak with that, baby. As far as having sex before you're married, Okay, one of the reasons why me and my husband don't argue or we have an understanding our relationship is good because we came into it. There was nothing, no, sex can kind of change the way you think about somebody. Like for instance, wait, it
That's okay.
um and so like for instance, if the sex is real good, the sex could be out of this world. So you might forgive some of the things that you don't like about that person because of the fact that you are actually, pleased by having sex with them. So let's say if they have some annoying habits. Now everybody have annoying habits, but let's say they might be some annoying habits that ordinarily you didn't want to put up with. But y'all have sex and it's like, well, that kind of changed your emotion. Like, well, maybe I can deal with this right now because the sex is so good. So it could kind of obscure your way of thinking. But if you are not having any sex, it's just a purity raw feeling. Which with me and my husband, there was no sex involved. So whatever we was going through, lack of money, not being together, it was just the purity feelings. There was nothing to obscure that. There was nothing that I dealt with his habits head on and he dealt with my habits head on because we didn't have any other emotions to deal with except for the pure raw us, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it makes sense because sex wasn't clouding the judgment.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
It wasn't clouding the thought.
Exactly.
It wasn't a substitute. It wasn't a pacifier. You
exactly.
understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So what happens is, in that case, if you have something that may be annoying, and it's okay for the first 2 years, and you overlook that for 2 years because it was annoying or whatever, you overlook it and it's okay. But here comes the third year that y'all into it, and that annoying thing has been so annoying, like a thorn in your side since y'all got together, but you overlooked it because of the sex, right? Okay, now when the sex starts to dwindle down because y'all not doing it like rabbits like when you first met. You understand? Whenever you get into a relationship in the first year of that relationship, everything seems like peaches and cream.
Mm-hmm.
That's my boo, that's my whatever you call whoever, and that is your all in all, but then after a year goes by, then things start to, you kind of sort of come down off of that high horse, come down, from that cloud and start to look at reality for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you do that and the sex starts to dwindle off like y'all wasn't making it before, those annoying things that you overlooked because of the sex, right?
At the forefront.
Now, at first they were like this, now they're like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now you're sitting there and you're questioning yourself and you're saying, you know what? I don't have to deal with this. Like that stuff is annoying. I ain't with that. I'm tired of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, got ever since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then it's like, well, you never said anything when you first got here. It's been like that since we met. Then why didn't you say something then?
Because you didn't.
You understand what I'm saying? I tried to say it, but you wasn't listening.
Yeah.
And then everything starts to pile on. It starts to pile on. Everything starts to pile on. And then at the end of the day, there was no truth in the matter in the beginning because your mental was
obscured by the sex.
Right.
Sylvia states, I will be 54 Thursday. Happy
birthday.
Yeah.
Mine coming up next week, sis.
And if I don't ever get another ding dong or a tongue, and I'm keeping it real, I'm good. Sylvia, I say to you, there's a old video called No More Sheets by Juanita Bynum. And that really helped me because I'll be honest with you guys, we are always real, transparent. I had a problem with not having sex. Even though I said to my husband, I'm not doing anything until I get married. It was a problem for me because I never learned that way. And for women especially, I think that the problem is that society we expect to that in order, like for instance, a trade-off. If we lay with our husband, we know that in order to have that intimacy, we might just want to lay there and be held. But in order to have that, there has to be something attached to it. So after they hug and hold us for about 5 or 10 minutes, then we have to give it up. Now, for some reason, that's the way women in society has had to live. My husband, being the God-fearing man he is, taught me that that was not necessarily the way, or didn't have to be the way. That he could lay with me and hug me and hold me and give me that intimacy without the sex attached to it. And so I learned another way. But another thing that helped me was Juanita Buy Them No More Sheets. I went through a period of celibacy, and I swear by it because of the fact that I think it is what prepared me. Well, it was a start of a preparation for me to have my husband. It taught me, because when you're celibacy is more than just not having sex. It's also a spiritual thing. You get to know yourself. You get to understand yourself. You get to look at yourself for good, bad, and indifferent. Because some things about yourself might not be very pretty, but we don't always look at it.
Celibacy is a cleansing of the soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether y'all know it or not.
And also with that, the No More Sheets taught me that I could not, the reason why the man for me could not get close to me is because I was filled up with so many other entities that I had in the past, that I had to clean my sheets before, so that he would have the room or the leeway, or however you want to say it.
Full reign of this new relationship.
Yeah, full reign to fit into me. That I was filled up with other entities.
He said to fit into me.
Whatever.
Oh, sorry, y'all. Dorian said, from here I can't, no sex before marriage is great. I've done it. You know what? Yo, yo, D, you shout out, nigga.
And broke up with the chicks because we were once active, but I wanted to be celibate, and she wanted the goodness and didn't understand my conviction to wait.
Yeah, and that's true. That happens. And then so with
but if she really cared, she would have stuck in there and tried to figure it out, because like I said, I had a problem with it, but I was in love with this man. So, I was like, okay, well, it must be something to it. And I was willing to stick in and learn what it was.
You know what it was for me, it was this. Like, I've been with countless women. I've been with a few chicks, right? And my thing was, I'm getting older, man. I'm just tired of just having something for the moment, because you got this one for that thing, you got this one for that thing, you got this one for that thing. You understand what I'm saying? And none of it seems to fit at the end of the day. So with that being said, you just, I don't know, you just play your part, I guess. And then when we got together, I wanted to know the true you. I didn't want sex to cloud anything, any type of judgment, anything that we were doing, anything that we planned on, none of that. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I didn't want sex to have no bearing on what our relationship was going to be. Yeah, it's easy to get together and, you know what I mean, 1, 2, 3, slam, bam, thank you, man, whatever you call it. That's easy to do. That's the easy part. You know what I mean? That's the easy part.
It's really easy for us.
I'm just saying.
Because I was clocking that for a long 5 years. I was clocking that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, it's easy to meet somebody and hop in the bed. It's easy to do that. That's easy. But is it easy to meet someone and deal with their ills, deal with their foolishness, deal with their crazy, deal with, what something you may not think that you can put up with, but you're strong enough to do so. Are you giving yourself a chance to know that person? What happens if you're in a relationship with someone? You're married. You're married to someone. That's just like you and I. I'm gonna use us as an example. God forbid that something happens to me or you to the point where we can't have sex anymore. I'm talking about for them.
I would be your nurse and I'll be groping while you can't move. No, I'm sorry.
And she would. And that's but I'm just saying that would not be a problem. It wouldn't be that much of a problem.
No,
our relationship would not be scarred because of that.
You're right. You're right.
Our everyday living, our every day-to-day routine, and everything that we do, we would still wake up and talk to each other in the morning. We still wake up and pray with each other in the morning. We would still make decisions with each other. We still hold hands watching TV. Everything. None of that stuff would change because we can't have sex anymore. Not with us. Now, and what are they saying?
Well, you know what? Sylvia brought up a good point that I want to ask you a question about, because I never asked you this question.
Would one stop shopping? You know what?
She has said further up, well, I was reading while you was talking, but she was like, if you're married, it's not sex, it's making love. But let me ask you a question. Being married and believing the way you believe, because before I got married to you and before we went to
hey, yo, wait a minute, baby. I'm sorry. Hey, D, you ain't got to bring that up, son. you can leave that alone.
Are you a stalker?
No, he said you had a stalker.
Oh, you sure? He sure did.
No, that's another one.
Oh, my God. He had a couple of... My husband, and I don't know whether this is a good thing for me, but he liked crazy women.
No.
And most of his women.
Hey, D, yo. Hey, D, man, stop that. Stop that.
I already know.
All right, so what was...
Sylvia brought up a good point. So I want to ask you this question. Before we got together, and to a point, I still believe this. There's a difference between sex, lovemaking, and the F word.
Mm-hmm.
So, being spiritual as you are, do you still believe that?
Yeah.
So you believe there's a difference between sex and...
You know where the difference comes in?
What?
Mentally.
Okay, so can we still...
I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. I say mentally is because you put yourself in that mind frame. If that's how you feel at that time, sometimes you might not want to do all the foreplay and taking time and some of this and that. Sometimes you might, because you feel it, you might just want to get right to it. You know what I'm saying? You just might want to just get right in, and sometimes you might feel like you want some angry sex or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? It's
No, I'm listening. Y'all forgive us. We're having a moment right now.
I'm not having no moment. And I'm
okay, I'm having a moment.
Thank y'all for coming out. I'm out.
No, come on, baby. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm just saying, it depends on, even though you're spiritual, you still have feelings.
So, do you believe being spiritual and being married?
I think that makes it great. So
you can do one or the other, one of the three, even being in a spiritual marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, I just, for the people, that was...
I think so. I think so.
Because you're married and sky's the limit.
I think that makes it great because you don't have to, you don't have to hide what you want to do. You don't have to hide who you are. You don't have to hide the feeling at that moment. You don't have to, you don't have to cover it up. You could be who you are at that time. You know what I'm saying? If that's how you feel and that's your wife, and you feel like you just want to jump on her and slap her on the behind a few times and choke her a little bit, it's on you. It's okay.
Okay.
D, what you say?
So he's explained the difference between the three. Sex is the act. Lovemaking is the act with emotions included. And effing is get your ass over here and take this.
You damn right.
Okay.
That's exactly what that is, D.
Okay. No comment.
So that's what it is.
Okay, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
Well, that's how we look at it. That's how men look at it. And, some women might look at it like that, and some women might look at it different. But I believe, if you're married, that's fine.
Sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit.
So what is the answer to my sister's question?
The answer to your sister's question is this, just my opinion. It's not it's not an expert opinion. It's just my opinion. If you're in a relationship, how important is sex? Sex is
if you're in love.
If you're in love, how important is sex? Sex is important as that person feels it is. Meaning this, if the man thinks sex is 60% of the relationship, that's the 60% of the love is going to be sex. The other 40 is whatever.
Okay, so here's my thing.
You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, so here's my thing.
If the woman thinks that sex is everything, if she thinks that is...
But they're not separating them. For me, it's as important as if both of y'all are on one accord.
It's important. That's important. But I'm telling you, certain situations, and I'm not going to say all relationships, but some relationships, sex is more important to one or the other. Sometimes you rarely meet where sex is important to both. You understand what I'm saying? One might I use us as an example. The older women get, the more in your, what do they say, in your prime y'all get. You understand what I'm saying? So,
So what are you about to say about
you
me?
could be fine with it every single day, every minute of the day. I'm cool with that, but damn it, man, let me get some sleep first. I'm tired.
I'm not that bad.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Sometimes.
But it also has something to do with the person, because I'm not like that if I wasn't in love with you, if I'm not turned up. It's because it's you.
Right. Right. You're right. And this is what I'm saying. Sometimes it's more important to one person than the other person. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes it's more to that person than it is for this person, whether married or not married. You understand? But when you're not married, the problem is that, number one, you should be fornicating. Period, point blank. By what we live by. And, our people out there, I can't tell them what to live by, or what, prayerfully they're doing what they need to do for themselves to be, what they need to do. But with that being said, that's kind of a touch and go situation, man. That's kind of a touch and go situation, because
Sharif,
what's up, baby?
Hi, fam.
So if you're in love, how important is sex? I'm going to say this to kind of sum up the whole thing. It's as important as you want it to be,
or as less.
No, it's as important as you want it to be, and you have to have room for compromise.
Okay, so my sister, I know that she's watching, and I would say for her to make a comment down in the comment section, because I know that she has questions. But because that's my twin, y'all. I know we think on the same accord, so I know that she's got some comments, because she always got comments. But anyway, I would say this. Well, first of all, I would say that I know that she wasn't talking about one particular person. She was just asking a general question. But being that I know her, this would come up in general. If you have a problem with the person before you even start sex, if you got something about them, some issues that you're not too cool with, the sex is only going to complicate it. Yeah, I mean, I don't care how much you love them, it's going to complicate.
You know something, and my thing is and also to simplify things for you in that aspect. When you meet a person, ask questions, man.
Lots of questions.
When you meet a person and you talking and you know what I mean, everything is cool, and y'all went out and sat down at Fridays or Applebee's or something like that on the little dates y'all be popping out at, go to Bruno's on Springfield Ave or the Chicken Shack or whatever.
Maybe they're not in Jersey, baby.
Oh, all right, you know what I'm saying. But wherever y'all are and whatever place you go to, you know, you take your date there, whatever you want to do. I suggest that any question that's in your mind, you ask. You ask that question. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. Don't feel like, dang, I wonder if I ask this question, is it going to be a turn off, and then I ain't going to see this person no more. Even if you like them.
And here's my suggestion: be real, especially to my ladies, because we have the biggest problem being real. I'm talking about being transparent and real. Don't be, if you don't change your sheets but once a month, don't start changing your sheets every week or every day just because you got a man, because he needs to see the real you. That way, if you do get into a relationship down the line when everything ain't peaches, roses, then he won't have to look at you sideways and say, well, Dad, when we first met, you was changing sheets every day. Now you only change the sheets once a month. What's up with that? Be as real as be real, be transparent, because if you do not, trust me, the truth always comes to light.
And Dorian, yeah, you're right. Make do for compromise. You have to do that. You have to make room for compromise.
But how much Clay said, why you get me started on Bruno's?
Bruno's Pizza on.
Oh.
Clay, you know what it's hitting for? You know they got the bag of slices in there. Look, fat nigga talk about pizza. But how about that?
Whatever.
But it's all right because I'm fly.
Yes, you are, baby.
And I'm a king.
Yes, you are, baby.
In my own right. Thank you, Jesus.
But as I said, just be real. You have to be real. How I am is how I was in the beginning with my husband.
Wait a minute.
What?
Let me pump a brake now.
What?
You ain't. I'm only kidding.
Oh, I was going to say, you know I was real. You knew I was crazy when you met me. Yeah. And you still. So
for 5 years.
Yeah, so you know, you have to be real. It's important to be real.
Years.
It is so important to be real.
For 5 years.
So that's what I say. I say, as long as you're real, and if you can't put up with something, are you still stuck on that 5 years? Trust me, it wasn't 5 years that we were dealing with each other because I was auntie. We ain't gonna get started with that.
No,
auntie. You know, it wasn't 5 years. It wasn't 5 years that I might have been clocking him for 5 years, but he wasn't saying nothing to me for 5 years.
So, what happened is...
See how he skipped over that?
I skipped over. Well, I'm not skipping over
that. I was clocking you for 5 years.
I don't know about all that.
I was on it for 5 years, and he ain't paid me no
didn't because I was, fly. I was doing other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's relationships are sticky, and yeah, that was a good one, sis, because I'm usually able to ramble off with something that's pretty cool, but I hope I ain't fumbling nobody up or anything. That one was kind of tough, but because in my heart and in my mind, I feel that you have to
Oh, Sharif,
realize
you are so right. He said first someone has to keep it real with themselves before they try to keep it real with
with
someone
somebody
else.
else. That's
And
right.
you're right. And as we said
That's why I
earlier,
said ask those questions.
the celibacy helped me. Now, I'm not saying everybody, this for everybody. I'm just saying for me being celibate gave me a chance to get to know me and be real with myself so that it prepared me for my husband.
Dorian said when they change, it's called the 52 fake out. Yo, D, you stupid. You know what? It's all in according of what you want. It's all according on what you want. Because Wendy Nichols, what's happening? when you want something out of a relationship, you should be able to ask who you're with no freely.
You should be able to say and speak
freely. You know what I mean?
And I also believe
no
you should know your partner.
Right, you should know your partner.
That
but
sometimes they don't have to ask.
But number one is you got to know yourself. And you got to know what you want.
That's true.
And what you put up with, right? And what you won't. And it's okay for you to tell that person, I'm not cool with that.
And see, that goes back to the sex, though, with it not being married or the sex, because sometimes, I know, speaking for the women, sometimes we will have sex and be like, well, I can put up with that because the sex is so good. And that's just
that's
not
lying to yourself.
Yeah, that's lying to yourself, because just because
that's not what you want. And why would you settle knowing that somewhere down the line the sex is not going to be the same from this day
some people don't
to
look
5
at that.
years down
some
the
people
line.
don't look at that. They just think, and some women actually believe that if they don't put out or give the sex, that they will lose the man.
That man ain't the one for you if it's like that. You got to sit back and relax and wait till God send you the right one.
I think women are afraid of being alone. I know, I don't know about men, but
hey, Nikki, what's up?
Speaking as a woman, I think there are a lot of women that are afraid of being alone. I don't feel that way because of how I was raised. My mother raised us very independent, but I have been around a lot of women, and I know a lot of women who are afraid of being alone.
Guys are afraid of being alone too.
But is it as spoken about as women?
No, because quote unquote, it's a man. So you want a notch in your belt. You want to. You got to put on that facade.
It's the
and then you got to look. It's an ego thing.
Twofold rule.
It's a twofold rule, exactly. And then from a man's point of view, the more you get, the more women you get, the more macho you look, and the more notches on your belt you get, because damn, this son got and he had. Son had, you know what I mean?
It's just like when a woman get pregnant, it's all on the woman. Nobody talks about the man. How it was the man just as much as the woman.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Like when I was living
rule.
I was living in Irvington, and me and the maintenance man was real cool. He used to come around, and do maintenance on all the apartments and all of that. And I had a few friends, that used to come through when I was living there. So one day, one of my friends came by. She was there for a little bit and she left. And then it just so happened as she was pulling out, somebody else was pulling in, and she knocked on it. Well, she rang the bell, and the maintenance man lived across the street from me and the apartments across the way. And she came in, we was chilling, chopping it up, whatever. And then when she left, I said about an hour or so, my two sisters came, but they came together. You know what I'm saying? And we stayed, we was playing games and whatever. So the next day, when I saw him, I was going to get a coffee and a newspaper. And when I got my stuff and I was coming back home, dude came to me and was like, yo, dude, like, how many you got, man? Yo, I've seen them coming in and out of there, in and out. They be in and out your crib. And I was like looking at this dude like, yo, mind your business. He was like, yo, Big Daddy, you the man. You got him running in and out, boy. I want to be like you when I grow up. And I was like, yo, that made me, from that day on, it made me think about this.
Double standard.
That too. But it made me think about like how men view women.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean? I mean, even though, I kind of pushed it to the side and I was still doing my thing. Right?
In other words, it didn't change you what you were doing, but you thought about it.
Honestly, it didn't change me. No, it didn't. But I thought about it, and it was something that, you know what? Sometimes you may get a moment, right? And when you get that moment, you grab it and you throw it in the back of your mind and you lock it away somewhere. And for years, you never think about it. But then maybe a particular situation will unlock that door and set that thought free. You understand what I'm saying? That happened to me when I was up in West Orange with my cousin. You know what I mean? A certain situation happened, and I saw this young lady that I had ties with way back, and we was talking, you know what I mean? And just even the conversation wasn't the same anymore. You know what I mean? And when she left, I was sitting there just thinking, and all of a sudden that thought just, came to the front again. I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. And at that time in my life, I was dealing with, I don't want this woman, that woman. At that time in my life, I was like, I'm going to just be chill until God send me somebody, because I was changing my life at that time. You know what I mean? I'm going to just cool out. I'm going to get more into myself. I'm going to take care of what I need for me. You know what I mean? And follow my spirituality. Kind of, sort of, yeah, because at that time, I wasn't ready for another pacifier, because I got tired of that.
I was a beta pacifier.
It didn't have anything to do with you. It had to do with me. You understand what I'm saying? It didn't have anything to do, it had nothing to do with you. Yes, you was beautiful. Yeah, the outfit you had on was crazy. I wanted to throw you on the couch and engage in something beautiful. I almost said some other stuff. But I didn't do it because it was something that had to do with me.
And to be honest with you,
I checked myself because
you taught me.
At that time, I didn't want to keep living the way I was living, because I was sleeping with women just because. And
I gotta admit, he taught me because he kind of bruised my ego. Because I was like, you know what, something wrong with this man. Everybody wants this. What's wrong with you? And he kind of bruised my ego a little because he just wasn't catching it. And I was like, okay, something wrong.
I mean, I knew it was hints, but, I didn't think that, I didn't grasp onto them because I just wanted to deal with myself. You, Seth.
Well, you almost lost this dealing with yourself.
You're a liar. Seth, what's happening, brother, man? Oh, ain't nobody up there, huh?
They still there. Oh. It's just not showing, but they still there.
So
I guess the answer to your question, my sister, is that, it depends on the people.
It definitely depends on the person. It doesn't depend on the love. And if that is what one of the problems is, if that's a problem, one must evaluate the situation, and one must also evaluate themselves. So that way, if you want that relationship to continue and you want it to bloom or you want it to prosper, you have to go back and check a few things and make sure that, what you want is what you want, and sex is not the most important part of that relationship. You have to find out what in that person it is that you want, and vice versa.
And if it's a bald hot dog and you want a charcoal boiled sausage,
say it.
Don't do.
Say it.
Exactly.
Say it. Don't be afraid to say it. Because, listen, this is to the men and the women out there. Women, you are queens. You don't have to settle for anything. You are entitled to what you want and what you deserve. Believe you should have that. And brothers, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Just because she might have a fatty and she might have some nice size fun bags and everything looks beautiful from the outside, you know what I mean? Just because that looks like that does not mean you have to settle for that, because it's not because you got some arm candy that, you know, if you walk into Walmart, all the other brothers is drooling and, you know, stuff like that, which, you know, it's okay if men want to do that. But my thing is whether it's arm candy or not, if you love someone, you need to be in love with somebody that's in love with you and not worried about if you have $10 to give them, if you have a car to ride them in or whatever. My wife tells me all the time, if you don't have anything, if you had a cardboard box on Skid Row, that I'm going to be in that cardboard box with you on Skid Row right there with you. And I know she will.
And that's because he handles my needs. And understand, we talked about needs. Needs might not be physical, whatever your need is, but that's getting to know yourself, to know what your needs is. My husband handles my needs. And for a lot of people, even before we got married, it was like, why are y'all getting married? You know, he might not have this or you might not have that. But it wasn't about that. It was about us coming together and me fulfilling his needs, whatever they were, and him fulfilling my needs, whatever they were. We knew each other's needs and we fit like a puzzle.
I want to tell you all this, and this is just a testimony, and this is what God is doing in our lives. We went from a bedroom, no car, no job, no nothing, to a 4-bedroom house in Atlanta, Georgia.
With so much furniture that
it's
everything
crazy.
Don't fit.
Look, we lost storage bins since we've been married. We've lost a bunch of stuff. And there was nothing but a test. And I know.
And without a roof.
Without a roof over our head and everything. And I'm telling y'all this because God is amazing. If you just give yourself to him and follow what he wants for you, he will give you your heart's desires. I'm telling you what God loves is the truth. We went from a bedroom, living in a bedroom, to a 4-bedroom house here in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a nice truck outside. We got a house full of furniture. We got food in the fridge. My studio is back up and running. Our book is doing well. And this is all because we lean and depend on God. We follow what his word says. And sometimes we get flustered. The flesh gets beat up. It's not always spiritual. It's always spiritual, but sometimes it doesn't seem like it. But at the end of the day, if you just give yourself to God, man, you give him a chance to come in and work in your relationship and work in your behalf and work on your behalf, I'm telling you, you'll see the change, man. And sometimes, you know, I sit and I be like, man, I need to get this, I need to get that. I need to do this, I need to do that.
But wait, I say, on the Lord.
And sometimes my wife is, I need this, I need that. I need to get this, I need to get that. But wait on the Lord. Just wait. Because your thought and what you want is not all the time what God wants for you. You understand? So
what me and my sister always say is, your feelings don't matter. Don't start feeling in things. Because once you start feeling in things, well, I feel like this and I feel like that, you start messing up. You have to wait and depend on God. And when I say that, trust me, to add to the testimony, when I say that we struggled for 2 years, first 2 years of our marriage, house to house, room to room, no place to stay. We struggled.
We lost
lost that, didn't have a car. Used to walk to the store, had to go to the nearest store was the Family Dollar. That's where I had to shop for food for us to eat, you know. But when I tell you within 2 weeks of saying, God, we surrender. We're not going to fight no more because we were going through feelings. We were going, we don't want to move here because that's too far and we feel this and we feel this. When we got to the point where we were at our bottom wits end and we was like, God, we surrender. We not going, whatever you say do, we're going to do. When I tell you within 2 weeks, we were in Georgia in a house. That's how fast it happened.
A 4-bedroom house.
A 4-bedroom, 2-bath house within 2 weeks. And we had spent 2 years struggling and feeling. And within 2 weeks, we were in a house and in a 4-bedroom. And within a month, we had enough furniture that
we got so much stuff in here. I want to give somebody stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's too much stuff in here now.
You need somehow.
It is too much stuff. But that's when we had to surrender. We had to stop the I feel this and I want to do this. We had to say, okay, Lord, we're going to give it all to you and let you work it out. And trust me, every time you do that, he comes through because he comes through for us.
And so with that being said, you could do the same thing with that relationship.
Hi, Rara. My brother. Whatever. You know what?
Did y'all win, sucker? Because it seems like that's a little bit of hate you coming through there with. That's why you ain't getting no bean pie, sucker.
Don't do that. Yes, you will when I come up there, bro. Don't let him do that. He's such a hater. That's why he will never be a level 4, you know.
I was getting ready to say level 1, right? Level 1.
No, he's a hater and he's level 1. Matter of fact, I forgot he's not even a level. He's not even supposed to be on the premises.
Okay, so remember that when it's time to do the Chronicles next week.
You can't do that.
I'm a level 1. I don't belong here. Remember?
I say where you belong because I'm a level 4.
Whoa, we don't do that. No.
Rah, help. He said no.
That's all right. Better luck next year. It's all good. Long as you enjoyed yourself. Because I feel before you got off the camera, right, you was going. You was wilding. And then you was talking about Carrot Top that was in front of you. I was like, yo, this dude's crazy. So
that being said, we are at our hour with 2 minutes left, but we're going to go ahead and...
That joker said I'm a hater, so what?
Once again, look out if you are looking for beats. I'm telling you, not because he's my husband, but he's been rocking in his studio.
Man. I've been working. I got a new catalog. I'm gonna be collabing with some other producers too, man. I just did a joint from a dude, 7 something. I'm sorry I'm messing up his name, so if you watch this, just please forgive me. But I've been collaborating with a dude from London, and dude is nice. Dude is nice. So we're doing a collab thing. As soon as I get a solid project on, dude, I'll throw it up so y'all can check it out. I'll throw it on my gram. I'm gonna throw it on the book. I'm gonna throw it up on Twitter so y'all can check it out and see what it's hitting for. I got that. Like I said, me and Trey working on some.
I'm also, if you're in the Atlanta area, I'm looking for investors for a project, a huge project.
Yes,
so if you are into investing or you know some commercial investors, I am looking for some investor for a very huge project. Also, look out, Sabrina Johnston. She is back, ready to work. She will be in the studio with us, and probably in a couple weeks, sometime in December. Not giving too much away, but we're looking to be in Italy soon. with some of her projects and some of our independent artist projects, preferably soon.
Looking for Del Royale too.
Del Royale, he is doing his thing in Virginia. For those of you in the Virginia area, if y'all don't know him, haven't heard from him, look him up.
He has a new single out, and that's terrible that I don't remember it. I didn't produce it, but see, that's my wife's fault because that's her.
Listen,
artist.
You know what? Don't be throwing me under the bus. Look, like I said, look him up. He's on Facebook. He's on what's the other one? Instagram.
Yeah, he's on every social site.
He's out there performing. So is
and his music is on all the stream sites.
Yeah.
So you could go to any stream site and look up Del Royale, and you'll be able to pick up his music. This dude is, he's phenomenal, man. He is phenomenal.
So is what's nephew?
Marco.
So is Marco Spade.
Marco Spade got a few joints. We call him nephew. That's what I call him. But he got a few joints on a stream.
Yeah.
On Spotify. I think his is he's on it's not on all the stream sites.
Hey sis.
It's on what is that?
We're in Atlanta, baby.
I think it's Tidal. It's on Tidal. Sis, what's happening?
So check him out. Like I said, my book has hit in Atlanta really well. I've done 2 events. I'm looking to do more events in Atlanta. Someone gave me, shout out to Ann Simons, my sister. She's sister in Christ, sister, spiritual sister. I've been knowing her since 6th grade, y'all. And she gave me a suggestion because I'm trying to work on my 2nd book. But she told me to go back and read my 1st book. And thank you. That was a good suggestion for me to go back and read that book. But
yeah, my wife did 2 events out here, and I'm super happy and I'm super proud. She did an event at a church, and
hey, cuz,
what's happening? She did an event at a church, man, and even the pastor came down and bought a book from her. So I'm super excited about the movement of her book and stuff like that, man. Keep following us.
I said, if y'all interested in ordering a book, please jump on it because those books been flying in Atlanta. They love the power of God in Atlanta. So
look, to even put some sauce on it. My wife was at work the other night and got pulled over by the police, and the police asked her, "Did you write that book?"
Yeah,
because the book was sitting on the seat.
I didn't get a ticket, y'all.
No, she got a ticket. No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
But I got love from the police officer.
Did you see the power of God?
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Let's not forget.
That's true.
That was the power of God for him to ask, because we had a discussion on, now who would just say, "Did you write that book?"
Yeah, because
you know what I'm saying?
It took me by surprise because y'all, for those who know me, I'm kind of paranoid. I was like, why he asking me if I wrote that book? It could have been a book I was reading. It was just a book thing. He couldn't see it. And why would he say if I wrote it or not? What he know about that? Are they watching me?
Right.
That's what I was thinking. But he did. He asked me all about my book.
That's nothing but the power of God. That's the power of God. That's the power of God just showing itself.
So check out my book, The Power of God. Please get it before I start the 2nd one.
What you say, cuz?
All right now.
Yeah. Look, for those that know, that's my cousin Pebbles, man. I love her.
That is our heart. That is my heart.
I love her with every ounce of my soul, and I'm not such a small guy.
And trust, me and her developed a relationship before we met on Facebook. The power of Facebook, okay? But that is one of my favorite cousins, if I'm allowed to say that, because my husband always.
What? Man, listen. Tonight we thank y'all, man, for joining in. We appreciate all.
Thank you for the support and
the comments and everything. And those of you that are catching us late,
Yeah.
tonight. The topic was just a brief synopsis on. The topic was if you love someone,
Is sex important?
is sex important? And to elaborate on it real quick, because we kind of passed the time, but I just feel like you need to ask questions before you get into a situation.
Know thyself.
Know thyself. Exactly.
To thyself be true.
Right. That's nice. So, you know, we told you about the stuff we got coming up, the stuff that's going on.
Anybody in the Atlanta area need a producer or some beats?
Yeah, I'm out here, y'all. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the vibes. I got the heat.
Anybody want to collaborate with writing, books? I'm here.
So, we thank y'all. We love y'all.
Be patient with us as being more consistent with the Hatchett Chronicles.
Hey, Waffle.
It's hard. Look at him and look at me. He is powerful, more powerful than little old me for me. So, but we're going to be more consistent with this.
If you have a comment, if you have a topic, if you have an issue, if you have something that you want to promote, if you have something that you want to share, don't be afraid to hit us up. We'll help you promote what you need to promote. Also, too, we haven't spoken on this in the last couple of chronicles, but we just put our label back together. So our label is up and running again.
UTR, Untapped Talent Recordings,
is back up and running. We have digital distribution on every stream and everything. So if you're looking for a label situation, and our label situation is a little different from a regular record deal because we're not giving you no money up front. Period, point blank.
But we are giving you ownership to everything.
We're giving you ownership to your masters, and we're helping you out with a pension. And what you put in is what you get out. And we will give you information on the business and teach you about the record business. It's cool with having the talent, but you need to know the record business. So with that being said, that was just another plug I had to put in there. So thank y'all, man, for joining. Thank you for coming
also
out.
Topics. If you have a topic, we are not licensed counselors, marriage counselors, but what we are experienced in spirituality and love.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll give you
and I'm gonna
our
give
opinion.
You, I'm going to give you the best advice. Give you the answer. So he's telling me, and I'm just the vessel to deliver the message. So with that being said, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for joining. And this is the Hatchett Chronicles, and we are out. Deuces.